Are you ready? If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. What's up? I'm awesome. Hello, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, really? Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yowie, wowie. Like mom. Baby. To believe that.
No, Matt, I've never been that curious about watching that secret Lars Sullivan video. But we're recording. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Two Words Podcast. I'm sorry.
You don't want to see. I don't think you realize how difficult this was to get.
You have to search very
Exclusive.
specific things.
Got exclusive content for the show, and you're uninterested.
Yeah, I'm very uninterested. I've never been less interested in a viral video. And I was in college in 2010. Like, you have to understand, there was
There was a time that viral videos were my life.
there was a time when viral videos you didn't want to see.
Were the only ones I wanted to see.
Like, no, sir. Well, welcome everybody to the Two Words Podcast. We're not actually watching that video. That was,
I don't even know what you're talking about, quite honestly. Is there an actual video somewhere?
Oh yeah, no. You don't remember there was Lars Sullivan was starting to get that real big push, and then it came out that he had done some other type of films.
Oh gosh, I do remember that now.
Yeah,
Ugh,
and like there was just this screenshot of it
ugh.
that kept getting shared, and you're like, oh, that's not.
Didn't the same thing happen to like the Red Ranger, but it turned out not to actually be him, but it just looked
Somebody had
so
like
much like him.
superimposed his face on
that
it.
what it
It was
was?
like they had like done a real like. I don't know if it was an awful deep fake because I didn't
It was a
watch
long
that
time
one.
ago, though.
It was a good little bit ago. But yes, no, I believe that the Austin St. James one was Austin St. John.
St. James?
Austin St. James. Austin St. John was, I believe that one was fake
Awkward.
as well. And now, where's Lars Sullivan?
Where's Austin St. John?
Where's Austin St. John? He's still complaining about everybody on the Power Rangers. Well, welcome everybody to the Two Words Podcast. My name is John, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Radio Matt. Radio Matt, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm so good.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, much
Good.
better than you.
Oh man, I'm just
You want to tell the world
I just-
the weird decision you decided to make for your family last night? It's not a weird decision.
not even the weirdest part of that decision. We got a puppy last night. We rescued a puppy, and I didn't want to rescue a puppy. I wanted to rescue like a dog.
Oh, you want like a full-fledged,
I wanted like a 2-year-old.
already exists.
Yeah,
dog.
we went into the animal shelter, and there was like this 2-year-old golden yellow lab.
No,
like,
yeah.
real good, good sized dog.
Labs are great.
Yeah, good sized dog. Seemed real good tempered. We talked to the guy about it. He disappeared back into the back and came back and was like, "So that dog's trying to bite me." And I was like, "Well, you can't get that dog." And then we started like walking around. I was like, "We want something pretty like even tempered because we do have a very young daughter, and so I don't want anything that's going to play too rough with her." And he goes, "Well, I got this old boy over here." And when I tell you a dog that I've never seen a dog give me the put me out of my misery face. This dog was 5 years old, had a gray beard, had a gray goatee, had a giant scar across the top of his head, and was just like, don't adopt me, man.
This dog's seen some stuff.
You don't want me. And then the girls went home, and I had to go do a thing at the church. And then I got home, and they have named the dog Hot Pocket.
That's the best name ever. I love that name.
So
Hot Pocket.
So I have a tiny puppy named Hot Pocket.
Oh, I would get to do the Jim Gaffigan thing all day. Hot Pocket.
And so, yeah. Well, and that's like we've taught my daughter that now. We go Hot Pocket. And so we're not talking about dogs today. We're talking about women, and because our 2 words today are "hello, ladies." This would be where you put in the Val Venus thing. It was either that or ladies' night.
I would have preferred that. I don't need an image of Val Venus.
You don't want Val Venus on this podcast?
Oh gosh, do you remember his Titantron video?
Yes, I do.
It was all just innuendos. Just train going into a tunnel.
At one point, it was him coming behind a shrub with a purple bike going
I
on,
do
and he
remember
just
that
kind of
too.
rises up.
Yeah. It's just
No, we already have him on
absolutely
the.
terrible.
Don't we already have him on? We have him in the thing, our theme song.
Yeah, I think
You have to
is
put that
that
sound in
in
there.
there?
Pretty
I don't
sure
know if
that's
it's
in
in the
there.
original or not, or in this one or not.
Pretty
Might
sure
have
it's
been
in
in the
there.
original, but maybe.
But anyway, we're talking about women
and
today.
He is. You're right.
He is.
Because it's followed by Otis going, "Pretty ladies." We're off the rails this morning. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Today, we're recording this a little earlier than it's going to be released, but today is the 3-year anniversary of this podcast.
Is it really?
First episode released.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Our podcast has lasted longer than, I don't know.
Lars Sullivan's career.
Lars. That's a heck of a lot longer than Lars Sullivan's career. Say that. But we're going to be talking about the wonderful women of wrestling, the good, the bad, and everything in between. But first, hey, yo, TNA's coming back.
Dang it, you stole my news story.
I only have so many, man. I don't have a lot of news today, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you probably take a good chunk of it. But TNA is coming back. Impact in January at their Hard to Kill pay-per-view, the very first pay-per-view of 2024, is going back to its original TNA Total Nonstop Action. The company was rebranded in 2017 when they were taken over by Anthem Sports, and so for about 5 years they've been Impact. But I've never called them Impact.
Yeah, I actually heard this on the Cultaholic podcast when they were talking about it, that, in wrestling, people get name changes all the time. Characters get name changes. And you might not like it, but you eventually join in. You don't hear people really calling the wrestler by their old name after a little while. You don't hear chants their old name or whatever. But almost nobody who loves wrestling has fully committed to calling it Impact. Everybody still calls it TNA. They still get chants for TNA in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like it's been such a big part of the history of the brand, which has had actually technically 4 different names. It started as NWA TNA, like TNA was almost the name of the show.
Okay.
Then it was just TNA. Then it was, at one point it was a whole different thing
It's like
altogether.
Global One
Global
Wrestling
Force
or something.
Global, something like that.
Global
Yeah.
Force.
But
It was Jeff Jarrett's company.
right. But anyway, TNA has been the heart and soul. That was the big era. That was the the Attitude Era version for this show that people loved, and so that's never died down. And they've been in talks about rebranding it or debranding it, I guess, back to TNA for a while. But the clincher apparently was the 1000th episode that they just recently had, because they brought back a whole bunch of the nostalgia, from TNA, and fans loved the fan response to that was so much that it was like, let's do it. Let's pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So there was rumors that there was going to be something big happening at Bound for Glory, and most people assumed it was going to be a one-off experience with CM Punk. They thought CM Punk was going to show up for the big event, have a match, get involved somehow, not join Impact, but just, for that night. And that was offered to Punk, but he turned it down.
Yeah.
But apparently they kept it a really good secret that they were announcing this at the end of the night. So I think it's cool. I think it's exciting. I mean, I have not been really interested in Impact since it's been Impact. But there was
yeah.
quite a few years during Total Nonstop Action that I was interested.
Yeah, because TNA really it really was a different product. It was like WCW, but it had different stuff, and so like their Hell in a Cell contraption was really cool.
That was different.
They used to have like an X Division. It was like a contract on a pole match, but it had like ropes going in between.
Oh, weird.
And you had to like crawl into the middle of the ring to grab.
Weird. So it wasn't like a ladder. Like you had to.
It was
interesting. One thing that has been confirmed though is they are not bringing back the 6-sided ring.
What a total load of crap.
Well, apparently every wrestler that's been a part of TNA when they have that said it is so much harder on their bodies to do the 6-sided ring. Than
Yeah, AJ Styles had a thing about that. And he was like, oh yeah, when we went to the 4-sided ring, it was like, oh, it's like getting coddled. Like, it's amazing.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Hey, yo, prior to Vince's most recent personal controversy, Netflix had been working on a documentary movie about Vince's life, but it looked like it was going to be canceled due to those new allegations against him. However, as time has passed by and nothing more has seemed to come from those allegations, it appears that the documentary, which is now a multi-part series, is back in development and might be on the way soon. However, it was once presented that it was going to be something Vince kind of had a say in.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's not the case at all. Vince has no say in what's in this documentary. He doesn't even know what's going to be in the documentary. However, the executive producer is Bill Simmons, and Bill has been friends with Vince pretty much Bill's entire life, I think.
Yeah.
So I doubt it's going to be highly critical, but I'm sure it'll touch on things that Vince would rather not be touched on.
Yeah. But that's how they got. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to have any say in your own documentary.
You're right.
Like, you just shouldn't, because there are things you don't want people to know about, and you'd rather not be said about you. But on the other hand, when you're not consulted about your documentary, then it turns into like, there's a HBO Max series that just wrapped up called Winning Time. It was about Magic Johnson and the Lakers, like the Showtime era Lakers. And like 2 episodes of that show came out, and Magic Johnson was like, that entire show is fabrication. It was nothing about that show except for the names is right.
Wow.
And so you can get into those kind of situations. I'd be very interested who they got to play Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're going to do this.
I'm trying to think who
is it going to be. I still don't know if it's going to be that kind of documentary where we're seeing actually, or if it's going to be more like Dark Side of the Ring, where it's mostly talking heads, and then
I guess
like a soft focus guy that kind of resembles Vince McMahon that you never see a close up of his face.
I guess more I was thinking about like a biopic.
Right, and I think that's how it was originally pitched, and it still might be that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to think of who would
either
play
way,
Vince
whatever the
McMahon
case.
in a biopic.
I have no idea.
Zach Braff. That's it. Zach Braff.
Beef
Vince
him up.
McMahon.
Zach beefed up Zach Braff.
Just get him.
I feel like they have the same temperament.
Yeah. I mean,
Just what I'm saying is Zach Braff is a jerk in real life.
Do you need to get that off your chest on the podcast?
He's an entitled jerk in real life. I have indirect evidence of this from the place I worked in Albuquerque.
But you were there.
Yeah.
You were there when it happened.
I was there. He's a butthole. Which confirms all the other rumors out there that say he's a butthole in real life.
But here's the thing: is like, if you ever got a chance to meet him, would you want to meet him?
I'd lick his face. Yeah, absolutely. For Scrubs alone, dude. Yeah. He would have an experience with me that he'd never forget. That's what I'm saying.
Open mouth kiss with Zach Braff. So Zach Braff, if you're listening, that's on the table.
It's on the table, man. Anytime.
You were interested. Whatever. Well, hey, yo. We talked a couple of podcasts about the show Wrestlers, and one of the big stars of that show was Hollywood Haley J, the real Hollywood Haley J, who made her Collision debut in AEW against Sky Blue, and it was okay.
Yeah. I actually,
it was okay.
just because I watched that OVW thing,
Yeah.
when I saw that, I'm like, I need to go catch that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm fairly excited for it just because of the documentary series.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean,
You could tell she was definitely not used to like playing a crowd that big.
yeah.
You could definitely tell that that Sky Blue had a lot more experience. Like, and I know that developmental talent is brought in to make your other talent look really good.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happened. She made Sky Blue look fantastic. But also it was a weird decision to me, just because like you have this documentary that's come out, which is probably 90% the reason you called her to come and do this.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
so you do that to her to like, for her to lose, and in like a very unspectacular fashion. I just thought it was kind of odd. What I did find really funny about the video segment that I caught of it, they were talking about something Tony Khan is doing for Sting. It was like, oh, we got this, Tony Khan has a gift for Sting, and one of the commentators, some Welsh guy, I don't know who it was, goes, "Is it RoboCop?" And I fell out of my chair. It was hilarious to me, but yeah, I think it was cool. She was obviously the star of that show, and it's cool to get her to see her get some experience, get some chance.
But you're right. It's got to be such a different atmosphere going from the almost like personal kind of aspect of a homebrewed, one of those small promotions where half the people that are going to be in the room already anyway, and you have such a close connection with them, to a giant arena.
Yeah.
With, stands that go up to the ceiling, of people
and
staring.
It's half full,
only on the one camera,
on the hard camera side. Yeah, because I've been, and you and I have been to like live WWE events, like live house shows for WWE. But like I was at an NXT event, like a house NXT event, and that is a banquet hall with like 60 people in there. Where they're selling like cans of Dr. Pepper over, like that's the concession stand. It's like, and that's a very different atmosphere to be in.
Speaking of, AEW apparently has a show, a normal show, like a TV show coming up in Chicago, and they have managed to sell only 2,000 tickets. I think that they're upset that CM Punk's gone.
That's harsh.
It's already bad for them.
That's bad when you can't sell. I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Monday or a Wednesday night show.
Like a Dynamite or something.
Yeah. All right, heyo. Despite promising that Vince McMahon would have final say in what happens in WWE, it appears Ari Emanuel has backtracked and pulled Vince completely from WWE creative, even from far away, and officially knighted Paul Levesque as head of creative once again. So we kind of touched on this as a rumor last time we were here, but it's been confirmed. Vince is still technically in charge of WWE as a whole, but he has no say in the creative direction the shows go. Emmanuel is looking to utilize the worldwide notoriety of Vince McMahon going forward, so they aren't like hiding him in the back, but they don't want to allow McMahon to micromanage the company's direction.
Yeah.
Which I think is the right move.
Yeah,
and
smart.
I didn't foresee it happening. And I'm glad it did.
I didn't foresee it happening immediately.
Yeah, like it was almost immediate from making this official.
But it's also good, you cut ties, you make a hard stop, and you do what you got to do. And here's the thing, we complain about Vince's direction, but like we're really only complaining about it now because Vince's creative over the span of,
of course.
all of his career is like fantastic. And so,
Of course.
I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, put the guy out to pasture, but like, give him something else to do.
Exactly. You know, yeah, I'm 100% fine with him being involved with the company, but
Make him the face of the company. I don't care.
it's been clear though for the last roughly decade that he's a bit out of touch with just this new generation. Yeah, it's a whole new generation. He doesn't understand it, and he's kind of been that kind of stubborn most his career. Like it took him such a long time to like dive into the Attitude Era adjustment. You know, like they just kept with the old hackneyed.
Yeah.
Here's Jim the plumber. You know, whoever else it was.
Here's Moon Man.
Yeah, they're all like occupations.
Yeah.
Here's Kane as a dentist. You know, that kind of thing. It's these weird old timey wrestling. He held on to it for so long while WCW was the bad boys of wrestling,
Yeah.
kicking their butts every week. And so it feels like he's just always so reluctant to jump into the next era,
Yeah.
you know, of storytelling. And it feels just like this last time he's been dragging his feet even longer.
Yeah.
And so it's time.
It's weird to me to look back and watch, because there was a certain time period where, like, if you watch the videos now, you can tell the Attitude Era is about to start, but they've still got that old block logo.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's a weird aesthetic to not see the scribble. Like,
Right. It was the in your house era where they were doing those in your house
everything was
pay-per-views.
bubbly and
Because like we just did I think last week there was a Today in Nerd History where it was the first Buried Alive match.
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
Undertaker and Mankind, but it was still the WWE or WWF in your house old logos. And I'm like, yeah, that is strange. I wouldn't think about that. Remembering it back, I wouldn't
Yeah.
think that was an in your house pay per view. I
Yeah.
thought that was a specialty Attitude Era pay per view, but
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I had a slow news day for me, but the trailer for the A24 production Iron Claw just came out a couple weeks ago. That is the biopic for the Von Erich family. That's Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich.
Zac Efron. How has this
And-
escaped my vision? I have not seen this.
You haven't seen it? You need to look up just a picture of Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich.
Doing it right
Because it is weird. This is definitely now before you hit enter.
Okay.
Also, it's spelled ERICH.
Well, someone else wrote it. I'm just hovering over it.
You'll find it out. I want you to picture Zac Efron from High School Musical.
Yes, that's the only way.
That's the only
Zac Efron.
Okay, now hit enter.
Okay.
Not that picture.
that one?
Not that one.
This
that
one?
one. Look how haunting that haircut, and he's put on just 1,000 pounds of muscle.
How old is he now? Holy cow!
Just is.
Is he 40 years old? What is going on here?
He looks like someone molded him into an old He-Man action figure.
It looks like he's cosplaying as the bodybuilding Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean,
He looks like
he got that jaw.
if Lord Farquaad got a gym membership,
Yes.
man. That's really it.
Farquaad shot up 2 feet and got a gym membership.
Just jacked.
Holy cow, bro.
But the trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm
Trailer looks great. It's got Jeremy Allen White playing Kerry Von Erich, which I think is going to be great. Jeremy Allen White from The Bear and I think Shameless.
Bear's so good.
Bear is really good, right?
Such a good show.
Let's talk about The Bear for a little bit.
Like a bear podcast.
Let's make a Bear podcast.
2
I
words.
love it.
The Bear. Here we go.
Holt McCallany, who just always plays like the gruff guy in everything.
Yeah.
But it looks great. You know, it shows a lot of kind of everything that was them, because especially at that time, like everybody knew who the Von Erichs was. Like in the 70s and 80s, if you lived in Texas, like they were everywhere. You knew who they were. They were doing Pizza Hut commercials. They were at the Sportatorium all the time.
Yeah.
they were really the guys. But it doesn't give kind of away to what happens. Because we all know kind of the story of the Von Erichs is a very tragic one.
Yeah.
And it alludes to like, this isn't going to be, sunshine and rainbows the whole time and puppies named Hot Pocket. But it looks really good.
All right. I'm excited to see the preview for that.
Chavo Guerrero is going to be in it playing the Iron Sheik.
Heck yeah. I like that.
And there's the guy who they got, Ryan Nemeth is going to be in it. And, Dolph Ziggler's brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Brother.
I knew I recognized the name.
Also, there's a guy playing Bruiser Brody named Casey Lewis Carragino, who has been like a stuntman and done some other, I think he's actually wrestled. But his first credit on IMDb is an uncredited graduate in Mr. Holland's Opus. So from that to this.
So strange.
To, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
I don't have any more, so.
I don't have anything else. So when we come back, we're doing our favorite thing and impersonating wrestlers reading the Bible. So keep it here.
Today in Nerd History.
Today's date is October 26th. In 1984, The Terminator premiered in theaters. This science fiction film tells the story of a cyborg assassin sent back in time from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, the mother of the future leader of the human resistance against machines. In the year 2000, the PlayStation 2 was released in the US. This home video game console was released by Sony and became the best-selling console of all time with over 155 million units sold worldwide. In 2014, Interstellar premiered in theaters. This is a movie about a team of astronauts who embark on a perilous journey through a wormhole to find a new home for humanity in a distant galaxy. In 2015, Supergirl premiered. This is a TV show about the adventures of Superman's cousin, Kara Danvers, who reveals her powers and becomes a superheroine in National City. In 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 released in the US. This is a game that tells the story of Arthur Morgan, a member of a gang of outlaws who struggles to survive in the changing and hostile world of the American Old West in 1899. For more nerdy facts about today's entries, visit lovethynerd.com/nerdhistory.
Welcome back to the Two Words Podcast, where we're talking about ladies of wrestling. But, there's something we do every season. I think we've done every season so far. We're like
Pretty sure.
5 seasons. I can't keep track of everything.
Season, yeah.
And it's probably mine and Matt's favorite segment, or at least one of them. We're talking, of course, about wrestlers read the Bible. Mm-hmm. We need like a theme song for it. Wrestlers read the Bible. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, great. No, that'd be great. So we've decided that we've gotten some good stuff written. The use of artificial intelligence has really helped us get into the minds. I will warn you, if you do this on your own, if you give the prompts, you might wind up with something that's not entirely wholesome according to the Bible. So just be forewarned.
Have to do a little bit of editing yourself.
Have to do a little bit of editing. So I've got a Dusty Rhodes scripture reading, and Matt is going to be premiering.
It's a very bad Jesse Ventura.
It's okay,
but I'm going to give it a shot.
I think maybe that's another segment we should do is bad Jesse Ventura. Bad Jesse Ventura. We should do a bad impressions.
That might be what the segment's been.
That's even better. I think it is mostly. But so do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? I'm going to go first because yours is going to be funnier.
All right. Okay. I appreciate
almost
that.
Guarantee it. Because I know what most of yours is going to say, and yours is hilarious. So this is the son of a plumber, Dusty Rhodes, reading 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 11. This is the love passage. If you've ever been to a wedding, next time you're at a wedding, just picture this as being what's read. This is love is patient, love is kind.
that how you read
It doesn't. Oh my gosh! Every time they use it at a wedding, I'm just like, can you? There's something. There's got to be another
There's
passage
got to be other things in the Bible that are
About
pro-marriage.
love.
Because that's not even a marriage thing specifically. We've just made it
like
into it.
being
It's
good to
only for
people.
marriage. Yeah, this is like love everybody kind of thing.
But and the problem is that, like, we always try to like make it this emotional thing that we say to somebody. Love, Jeremy. Jeremy, I just wanted to let you know that love is patient,
And I will be patient.
and I will be patient with you, as well as being kind. Because love, Jeremy, love is kind.
Love is not self-seeking, so I will never look for myself. I think that's what that means.
I don't know. Does not boast. And I'm great at not boasting. I'm so good
The
at
best
not
at
boasting.
not boasting that I know.
I'm very. This is turning into Donald Trump reading this.
I'm the greatest
very-
not boaster.
I don't boast at all.
I'm the humblest president you've ever seen.
Anyway,
People are always telling me, yeah, you're so humble, Donald. You're so humble. And I'm like, oh, really? I don't really see it in myself, but I appreciate it. I believe you.
this is by far the most unhinged podcast we've done. Like, without a doubt.
We're in a mood today.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Next podcast is just going to be called Unhinged. Those are the two words.
That's how unhinged it is. We're taking one word and making it two words.
Two words.
You should know. Coming in.
Coming in hot. All right. So this is Dusty Rhodes reading 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 11.
Get all those delicious noises
Baby.
in.
Baby. All right. Now let me tell you something, baby. Love, it ain't just about fancy words and the big promises. Oh no. Love is about something deeper, something real, like the roots of a mighty oak tree. It's about being patient, brother, being kind, and not envious of your neighbor's success, if you will. Love, it don't boast, it don't brag, it's humble, like a man who's been through the toughest fights and still stands tall. And don't forget, love ain't seeking its own, no sir. It's about looking out for your own fellow man, lending a helping hand when he's down and out, and when he's facing the toughest challenges. Love, it ain't easily provoked. It ain't touchy, it ain't sensitive. It's tough as nails, but gentle as a summer breeze. And you know what, my brothers and sisters? Love, it don't rejoice in iniquity. Oh no. Love rejoices in truth, in the triumph of what's right and what's good. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love, it never fails, it never gives up, it never surrenders. It's a flame that keeps on burning, a force that keeps on going. So I say to you, my friends, let your love be your guiding light, your strength, your fortress in this crazy world. Because when all else fails, love remains. It's the greatest of all, the one thing that never fades away. And now, I'm going to leave you with these words of wisdom. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put childish things away. That's the gospel according to the American dream, Dusty Rhodes. That's the whole truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Daddy-o.
Okay. Two things. Number one, I always forget just how good your Dusty Rhodes impression is. But number two, I 100% see Dusty Rhodes facilitating a wedding and saying all that exactly that way. That was beautiful. I speak as a child.
I spake as a child, I understood as a child.
I loved it. Oh, man, that was really good.
But gentle as a summer breeze.
Tough as nails, but gentle as a summer breeze. Loved it. So good.
And so this is
Okay.
now what passage do you have?
This is James 5, 7 through 12.
Okay, so this is I just taught this the other day in a study.
It's so mangled through this thing that I couldn't tell you exactly what the real words were off the top of my head.
It's about watching out for basically letting evil into your life
Right.
and standing firm on that.
Standing firm on truth and things of that nature.
But it's not James.
It's not. This is Jesse Ventura. John sent me the Chat GPT, like the original thing, or well, the best one that he had gotten out of it. I added so much more to it.
Yeah, I told him, I said, I know you can punch this up.
I went beyond punching it up. I drop kicked it. So there's a lot here, but I hope it's going to be funny. So just for those who are unaware of Jesse Ventura, he, after wrestling, became a politician and soon became really well known for having believing in a lot of conspiracy theories.
A lot of them.
To the point where he got his own true TV show.
Yeah.
Called Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura.
Not just believing in them, though, like interjecting himself into them.
Yes.
Talking about, because at one point he was a Navy SEAL, and so like all of these Vietnam conspiracies and all this other stuff.
But even just the basic stuff like aliens and that kind of stuff, it's all in there. So
got Baja Soda.
Call it the Baja Soda. All right, here we go. James 5, 7 through 12 as Jesse Ventura.
All right, listen up, folks. Be patient, stay vigilant, just like a whistleblower waiting for the right moment to expose the truth. Keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, just like Andrew D. Basigo, who as a child was a chrononaut working for his father at the Los Alamos National Laboratory on the DARPA experiment called Project Pegasus and was sent back in time to meet George Washington. And don't lose hope, not for a second. Hold on tight, because just like a truth seeker digging through government lies about 9/11, you gotta keep pushing till the whole story is laid bare. Trust me, the revelations will be more earth-shattering than the Gulf of Tonkin incident that dragged us into a war based on falsehoods. Now, when it comes to grumbling, cut it out. No room for that negative energy. Speak straight, speak true. Just like a researcher unearthing the hidden agendas of the powers that be in the CIA when CIA operative Lee Harvey Oswald was framed for the assassination of John F. Kennedy to cover up the deep state's connection to Watergate. And above all, my fellow truth seekers, let your word be your bond. No need for elaborate promises, no need for grand declarations. Let your actions be your testimony. Just like a whistleblower standing firm in the face of threats and intimidation from a radical Congress that has been infiltrated by shape-shifting reptilian lizard beings from a planet hostile to our own, who are manipulating our world's governments to mandate a second voluntary forced vaccine on the populace to make us too docile to fight back against a full planetary invasion from the reptilian homeworld. So listen up, my fellow warriors for truth. Above all, my brothers, do not swear, either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath forced upon you by the Illuminati. But let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. That's the code of the whistleblower, Jesse Ventura style. Stay aware, stay vigilant, and never stop seeking the truth, such as the Yerkes National Primate Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia, and their attempts to create half-man, half-chimpanzee hybrids under the guise of medical research. So why don't you tell me if our government is making human Z super soldiers to bring forth a real-life Planet of the Apes? I'm just asking questions.
You were red-faced.
You tell me.
Why don't you tell me?
I'm just asking questions. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that is largely inspired by the Dudesy podcast that has Will Sasso.
Yeah.
Will Sasso on there.
Yeah.
He does a fantastic Jesse Ventura, and he always uses it for like commercials.
Yeah.
Fake commercials.
BOGO beef days are back
At
at
Arby's.
Arby's. Here's the thing, though, is you
BOGO Togo beef blast potato basket.
You can't do the impression without shaking your head like Will Sasso does. BOGO beef days are back.
So why don't you tell me if the greatest soldier in American history was a Bigfoot?
But I love it. I love it.
Eventually, we need to put together our own Bible. That's what. That's really what we need to do. Is our own audio Bible.
I don't know. The Gen Z Bible got heck flack for it. So
I know.
I don't think a pro wrestling Bible's going
think that's hey, I mean, honestly, though, that's the goal anymore of us millennial ministers is just to make the Reformed guys mad at us for doing something fun.
just go viral for making the other Christians mad.
Yeah. Well, when we get back, we're going to have some fun because we're talking about the ladies of wrestling, so keep it here.
Hey everyone, I'm Radio Matt, and this is Reviews of the Nerds. Today, I'm reviewing Switchfoot's special release album, The Beautiful Letdown, Our Version, Deluxe Edition. This massive production features 25 tracks in total. Firstly, we have the fresh recordings of every track from the original album by the band, including an unreleased B-side, Monday Comes Around, and a brand new track, In My Blood. But the big draw is that there's also brand new recordings of each track from names like John Bellion, Reliant K, the Jonas Brothers, Colony House, and a lot more. Growing up, and frankly still to this day, this original album was in my top 5. From start to finish, it was beautifully done. And this new project provides a lot of fun updates and reimaginings, and the updated versions from Switchfoot are fantastic, though the 2 new tracks don't hit the same in my opinion. But diving into the guest artist recordings, that is a journey. I will say that there are some missed opportunities, with some tracks coming off as glorified karaoke renditions. For instance, One Republic's Ryan Tedder sings half of Dare You to Move in a way that hardly shifts a note from the original and just has no real flair. 21 Pilots' Tyler Joseph sings a rendition of 24 as well. That is a bit underwhelming. It's still very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but the track is missing that 21 Pilots sound that people would rightly expect. A few gripes aside, most of the guest artists do a phenomenal job bringing their own flavor to these classic tracks. Kicked off by John Bellion's almost cinematic take on Meant to Live, Owl City's take on Gone is such a perfect combo, and Ingrid Andress's version of On Fire is hauntingly amazing. Several of these new versions are now in my personal rotation for life, most likely. This album is more than fine and is not just adding to the noise. Check it out today on Spotify, buy the album, or catch most of these tracks in the rotation of LTN Radio. I'm Radio Matt, and remember, try to sing along.
And welcome back to the 2 Words Podcast. We're talking about ladies of wrestling because our 2 words are hello, ladies.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I know it made you uncomfortable.
I'm fine.
I hate
I'm
to do
rolling with
anything
it
like
now.
that. I can change it.
I'm rolling with it.
Yeah. Gosh, I love that. We're talking about ladies of wrestling because, we get so focused on the male performers because for so long that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the ladies of wrestling have really come kind of a long way from just being some sort of like filler programming, or seeing scantily clad ladies. Like, it's not that anymore.
I mean, even before that, they were just essentially valets most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, you barely had a women's division. Most women there were just to escort a wrestler or a team.
Yeah. Here's a fun thing I found out. WCW had 2 women's champions in 2 years.
Really?
And then they just vacated the title.
I don't even recall
Everything that I've been able to find. And they were like Japanese wrestlers. Not that they're bad or anything, but it was like,
But it wasn't like homegrown talent.
it wasn't like, as far as I have been able to find. But I feel like Alundra Blaze was a women's champion.
There?
I know she threw the championship in the trash.
That was our championship. That was our championship.
Our
Like we,
championship.
we
Was
us
how?
over in WWE. I'm recalling the.
Okay, yeah, no, Medusa was in the tournament for it.
But no, you're right. Akira Hokuto and Devil Masami. Those are the only two.
Yeah.
It got vacated between those two, and then it got deactivated just a few months later after the second win.
Which is it makes sense because other than Medusa and these two women whose names are in front of you, which I'm almost assuming if I took them away, you wouldn't remember them.
Not at all. Yeah.
Can you name another female performer other than there was? Oh,
They also had a women's cruiserweight belt, though.
did they?
Also, only
So only two people,
that's three, but they're all
all Japanese.
Japanese. Toshi Uematsu, Yoshiko Tamura, and Sugar Sato.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's only been in the last few years that women's wrestling has really taken off.
I'd say, elevated at least
Yeah.
closer to the men's level.
In early 2000s, it was cool, and then like, mid to late 2010s and the early 2010s, it was like the Divas division.
Yeah,
And the
they made
Divas
it-
division was like, they had the butterfly belt and
It was very barbified.
Yeah.
Like everything was too girly.
which was intentional. I get
Yeah.
that. But you look at WrestleMania 17, and I remember a lot of great matches from WrestleMania 17. You had Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
You had
That was one of the best WrestleManias
Undertaker.
ever,
Oh,
right?
it was great.
X7.
Undertaker versus what was that guy's name? Undertaker versus the two. It was a 2-on-1 match because Nate Jones pulled out. Big Show and A Train, I think. Mick Foley. I might not have been 17. 19. 19 was the one I was thinking of.
I'm thinking of 19. Okay.
19. 17 was still good though. 17 was great though. 19. Because you had Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho and all that stuff.
Undertaker and Nathan Jones versus Big Show and A-Train.
Yes, and then Nathan Jones didn't show up
That's right.
because he was a crazy person. You had Hulk Hogan versus Mr. McMahon. You had Triple H and Booker T, and then you had like the women's championship. The women's division was like it was a pillow fight. I'm not kidding.
Victoria, Trish Stratus, and Jazz in a pillow fight match.
I'm not even sure. But I now I don't know about that one, but I know like at one point they were like, "We're having a pillow fight tonight," and they made Jerry Lawler be weird about it.
They did a lot of those specific meant to be sexy type matches, like bra and panties matches and stuff.
Yeah.
And even as a impressionable young teen during these times, I still felt icky
Yeah,
watching them. Like, I don't think this is.
I feel gross.
I don't think this is right.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, it was. So we had the era where they were mostly valets. Then they started really. We had kind of like the Trish Stratus, Lita era where they were kind of transitioning from valets to being, actual good performers again, because they were good performers in the old days before it was televised and things. And then like you said, it kind of devolved into that Barbie doll Divas division.
It was the Divas division.
And then we had, we had some that were legitimate athletes. Brie and Bella were decent athletes, but I don't think of them as female wrestlers. I think of them as
Divas.
weird female talent.
Yeah.
I think of them closer to the WCW Nitro girls than I think of them as wrestlers.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's just because that's how that era was presented.
Yeah. But even in that era, you still had AJ Lee came out of that era.
AJ Lee.
Caitlyn came out of that era, and they had great storylines. Like
You're right.
Natalya was in that era.
There were some standouts.
So-
Paige even towards the tail end.
Yeah, Paige
Yeah.
was Divas champion. And so
It's
Yeah, and then like the last few years, they went back to the women's division.
Yes.
And things have been
I think it's the best it's been
better. Yeah.
since television, since
Yeah.
the televised weekly stuff.
So run down your list of great female wrestlers and just get Alexa Bliss out of the way because I know you're going to talk about her.
Alexa Bliss is my whole list. High
just the
flyer, risk
whole-
taker, great on the mic, great character actor. No, she is on the list, but no, I got Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, at least for a season, brought back that Attitude Era feel
Yeah.
for the women's division, like how it should have been,
Yeah.
for the women's division. I still love Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is a fantastic performer, really good on the mic, just absolutely great. Beth Phoenix, I have on my list of great female wrestlers. Physically,
I get that.
she is a physically proficient, awesome wrestler. Not always so great on the mic, or hasn't had really good stories, but I do like her. Paige / Soraya is on here. I like that she broke out of the Barbie doll phase. That was kind of the beginning of the end for it in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah.
Of the Divas division is Paige coming in. AJ Lee, like we already mentioned, she was a fun character, good wrestler. Now works behind the scenes for Women of Wrestling. Wow.
Okay, I didn't realize that's where she was.
I put Chyna on here, trailblazer for
Oh, yeah.
women's wrestling, I think. Stepped out against the men on many occasions for did she hold the Intercontinental
She was an
title?
Intercontinental Champion, yeah.
She was the Intercontinental Championship, which never had been done before
Yeah.
by a woman. I thought that was really cool. I liked that she was in Royal Rumbles a couple times, which wasn't women's Royal Rumbles wasn't
Yeah.
a thing back then, and women being in them wasn't a thing. I have Sasha Banks on here. I think she has undeniable crowd control. She's a fantastic wrestler, but she controls the crowd really well. She's a good heel. Mickie James. I think Mickie James has the lasting power, the staying power.
Oh, yeah.
She's been doing this for, I feel like, longer than most wrestlers, like consistently. Like Trish Stratus comes back every 5 years or whatever and does a short thing.
Yeah.
But like Mickie James has been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I think she took a break there for a little bit, but then when
take a
she
little
came
break.
back, she's
Came
been
back.
she's been pretty steady busy.
Hot as ever, was
Yeah.
champion over in whatever promotion she was in. What was it?
TNA.
Was it Impact? Okay, yeah.
Back.
That's right. And then I put Lita and Trish Stratus in here together. They're great
Yeah.
performers on their own, but their feud / friendship elevated, I think, the idea that we can have actual storylines that people care about
Yeah.
featuring just the women. Because before it was always just like, or at least in my memory, all I remember is like catfighting storylines in the Attitude Era. I didn't remember real legitimate beefs played out over several months or even a couple years, except for Lita and Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
And we still have a little bit of that they've revisited in the last year or so. That was fun. It was really fun to revisit. So that's
Yeah.
my great
Yeah.
female list.
You have several women on the list I would not have put on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was, I mean, and y'all know, I've never been the biggest fan of Sasha Banks. I don't deny that she's great.
That's kind of where I'm at.
She's just never worked for me,
She's not my favorite. I just try to go
it's-
objective.
yeah, I'm sure it's booking that's made it, but for me, that I don't know.
I want to hear your list then. Let's hear it.
Well, so my list is there are some similar spaces. Big Trish Stratus fan, big Lita fan, because like you said, they really started that jump
Yeah.
before like they went away and it got cut off and they
Like-
went into the Divas division.
Like
but-
Trish Stratus at one point during this like heel turn that she just had recently against Becky Lynch said something along the lines of, "We're the ones that started the women's revolution,
Yeah.
not you guys."
Oh yeah,
And I 100% agree.
yeah.
That was the groundwork for it, and it did get halted by that Divas division
Yeah.
nonsense era, but
I think that Trish Stratus, Lita. I think that another wrestler. You mentioned Beth Phoenix, and I didn't even think about Beth Phoenix, but Beth Phoenix is an amazing talent. And if it wasn't for her getting stuck with like the Great Khali and Hornswoggle,
the booking for her is terrible, and it's obvious that they don't really care about her storylines. But she is a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah. I mean, she uses a power bomb.
Yeah.
Like she uses a power bomb as a finisher. That's pretty impressive. The only addition from that era that I would give is Molly Holly. Molly Holly was great because Molly Holly was athletic. She did not necessarily have the same physical look as maybe a Trish Stratus, but still was able to command a certain sort of respect. She was very athletic. She always had a lot of fun. You know, they had she was in Right to Censor, right? Yeah, she was in Right to Censor.
Wait, was that her?
I'm pretty sure.
Hold on, I'm starting to think it wasn't her. No, it was. It was Molly Holly, wasn't it? Yeah,
pretty sure.
I'm remembering wrong.
I have Thunder Rosa as a current wrestler. I think Thunder Rosa. I think a lot of the women in AEW are really good. Even if not for like the booking, because you have over in AEW you have Thunder Rosa and you have.
Oh no, it wasn't Molly Holly. It was Ivory.
No, it was not.
Ivory and the Cat. Those are the only two females that were ever in Right to Censor. It's Ivory that I'm remembering.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really thought that was Molly.
Molly Holly was Hurricane Helms' sidekick.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Mighty Molly.
Mighty Molly. I do remember Mighty Molly.
Yeah.
So great. But like I was saying with AEW, you have.
But she was also with the
Britt Baker.
The Hollies.
Yes. Obviously that's where she got her thing.
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker.
I didn't really get into AEW, did I? Besides Soraya, but
no,
not for that reason.
And I'm not. Soraya's another one of those. I don't put super high on my list because everybody talks about how influential she was and how amazing she was, and she wrestled for all of like 6 months.
True.
She really did not. And I know
But she
it's
left
not
a
her
big
fault.
impact. Yeah.
It's not her fault, but I just don't feel like you make movies out of people who had such limited careers.
Hey, she had a great story, man.
And it was a great story. And if all of it's true, then sure, great story. And Vince Vaughn's great. I like Vince Vaughn, so I'll watch anything with him. And the guy that played her dad, who's always in those movies with Simon Pegg. He was in Shaun of the Dead. I love that guy too. But yeah, Britt Baker. Who am I missing from AEW? Tony Storm's over there.
I don't have them all memorized.
CJ Perry's over there. She's on my list of not great female wrestlers. Gail Kim. We'll talk about Gail Kim. Gail Kim pioneered the Knockouts division. Her WWE stuff, not great. But that Knockouts division,
you're right.
Solid.
You're right.
And two more names I don't think that you thought of were mentioned. Mae Young. I think as far as someone who has been, first of all, who is 90 years old for 30 years, but
she
had such a huge relevance. She was so relevant for so long.
She was, I mean, only really experienced her during the Attitude Era, but she was freaking funny.
Yeah.
She would take huge bumps.
She took that that table bump.
Table bomb from Dudley.
From Dudley?
Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah.
Smashed her through a table. How does she? There were so many occasions where she took a bump, and I thought that she's dead.
She's dead.
They're trying to kill this old lady on pay-per-views. I don't understand. Then there was the time that she took her top off on a WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah,
as a 93-year-old woman.
That's weird.
That was a weird time. That was when the
90s were interesting.
Yeah, I think the Attitude Era is dead. That's what I thought.
This can't be great.
But I was wrong because she went on to give birth to a beautiful baby hand.
Yep. Mark Henry's baby hand.
What a weird time that.
These are the moments like you can't explain to a non-wrestling
You
fan.
cannot.
Yeah, I don't know. And then obviously we have to talk about Santina.
I almost put Santina on.
Santina Marella. I mean, she was fantastic. She was in a women's Royal Rumble. A lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of great stuff. That just goes back to show how great Santino was, though.
It was funny.
Because if Santino had won any of those like first women's things, we'd have just been like, yeah, cool, I'm good with it. Like, I'm fine with it. And so I only have a list of 3 not so great female wrestlers. I know there are more, but I don't know about you. I felt bad putting names on that list that I was going to have to say out
Totally.
loud.
I couldn't put any on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'll
I
let
only
you go
went
first.
after. So Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I don't think Nia Jax is good in the ring. I don't think Nia Jax is relatable. I do not think that she is relevant. I think that when she was working with Alexa Bliss, who is on both of our greats list, that was about the only time that it really worked for her. And I like outside of WWE, I've seen plenty of interviews. Like she's really great.
Yeah.
Like she's fun. She's personable. She was on the Steve Harvey show one time and like it was real fun. But in the ring, and when I found out that she had returned a couple months ago, last month, I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
And then we fired Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
Maria Kanellis.
Hold on. Just to stick on Nia Jax, because she's on my list too.
Let's just crap on her for a second.
She has a reputation of being an unsafe wrestler.
Yeah.
She has been the cause of several injuries. But on top of that, I really think that her being used as a heel pretty much exclusively is what's going against her. Because I think you're right. She's funny. She's personable. She should be a good guy.
Yeah.
Give her a chance as a good guy, but they're using her size and intimidation factor to be like, no, she's got to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Every situation, which they're doing the same to Doudrop, which I think Doudrop wants, but that's the box that she can't break out of, apparently.
Yeah.
I think she would be much better on TV anyway as a face if they give it a shot. But when she came out as an entrance in the men's Royal Rumble, I don't remember if it was this year's or it was the year before. It was this year's. It was this year's. She like came out, knocked somebody out that was supposed to be in the ring. And they're like, I'm going to be in the match.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm mad because you're crapping on something China did when it really meant something.
Yeah.
And
Because you really thought China might win the men's Royal Rumble.
and she has held her own for a good while too.
Yeah.
And to have them do that with Nia Jax, and it was just a one-off too. She hadn't returned yet. It was just like a one-off
Yeah.
surprise thing. I'm like, this is a bad surprise.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
she
You don't
came-
want that kind of reaction when you see her.
Yeah, she came back several years ago, or she came into the Royal Rumble several years ago too, and she
Right.
like threw out Randy Orton.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
she had an
what?
effect, and that was okay, I guess. But like it was a weird. It wasn't as bad as his last one. But yeah, throwing out Randy Orton, that was
Yeah.
stupid. You don't see her as the intimidating figure that they're trying to make her be ever. China, you did.
Yeah.
From the get-go. And that's because she was the silent enforcer. She was the enforcer.
Yeah, well, she was actually
the X.
fighting. You know,
Right.
Yeah,
But I'm like, she was of the group. She was the enforcer. It's kind of the same thing they're trying to do now with Rhea Ripley, with
yeah,
which should have been on my list of great wrestlers. Now that I'm realizing, because I love Rhea Ripley.
I like Rhea Ripley.
Anyway, but I believe it with Rhea Ripley. Rhea, is it Rhea? Rhea? I never know how to say it right. Rhea Ripley? It's Rhea Ripley.
I let's go with Rhea.
Diarrhea Rhea Ripley. That's
Yeah.
how I'm going to remember it now.
I'm sure that's what she wanted.
I'm sure that's how she remembers it. But you don't ever believe it with Nia Jax. You just don't believe the enforcer position with her.
Yeah. and then really my list of bad wrestlers is women like Maria Kanellis, like Summer Rae, like Emma when she came back this last time, and
Eva Marie.
Eva Marie.
I'm not even certain Eva Marie knows how to wrestle. I'm not sure I've seen her actually wrestle a match. I've seen them tease like she's going to wrestle a match 1,000 times.
Do you know how bad Eva Marie's wrestling career has been? The only thing I can remember her ever doing was the time that her top almost accidentally came off and she had to like run.
That was one of the matches where like, okay, we're finally going to, that was like the first time I remember saying, okay, I'm finally going to see her wrestle. And then that happened and then it didn't happen. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is this person in the WWE though?
My problem with all of these women though, is that, first of all, like Summer Rae was Fandango's manager.
That's right.
And then she like moved over into wrestling all of the sudden. But these women who are being promoted as these like super, 80s-esque sex symbols and, like, oh, look at me. And like, but we still have this women's division going on now with women like Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair who are like legitimate. And then you have, it's almost like we're still trying to appease Vince McMahon's early 2000s, late 90s thing. Yeah. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think that these women should be relegated to that either. I don't.
At this point, it really just comes down to there should be some people that we're just not hiring.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring in women who are not professional wrestlers who can't hold their own. I got Eva Marie on here. I have Alicia Fox on here, which I know it kind of hurt me a little bit to put her on the list. Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox.
She's too stiff.
Alicia Fox is a bad performer, but I don't think it's her fault. I think it's her booking. I think 90% of the problem I have with Alicia Fox is her booking.
I think that's at least a heavy part of it, yeah. But she's also just too stiff in the ring. I don't think she was ready to be in the top tier wrestlers. I think she needed to be in developmental longer because you can see it. She's just she's a mannequin. Yeah, in the ring. Rosa Mendez.
Okay,
more popular as a valet than a wrestler. Keep her there. That's my thought.
Yeah, just let her do that.
But here's the one that really hurt to put on here. And this I don't think is her fault. Natalya.
I would agree.
She's never had a good story or a push. She's often had terrible stories, like being the farter. That was her story. That was her gimmick for 6 months, farting in public on camera. It's almost like she's kept on the roster as a favor to the Hart family, She is very talented. She's a fantastic wrestler, and every now and then she gets a chance to shine. Yeah. She got that phenomenal match in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I don't even remember who the opponent was because I was so focused on her. Was it?
She just got fired this year.
Yeah.
Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans. It was a really good match. She's really good at what she does, but she has not been able to capitalize on it because all of her creative has been hot garbage.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
That one hurt me to put on.
So I have the question is, do you think that things have gotten better or worse over the years? Now, I think that things have gotten better, but we really need to work on booking. Like, we really need to have someone that is investing in these storylines, because the storylines don't seem to really have any direction or point to them, and then they just end up getting like dropped off,
abandoned. Yeah,
right. Like we get these great starts, and then they just fizzle out of nowhere. Like to me, and you might disagree, but Becky Lynch coming back at SummerSlam 2 years ago was a waste.
Was that when she just immediately challenged Bianca Belair?
Yeah, and it was like 20 seconds, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Number one, she we were gearing up for, I was looking forward to Bianca Belair versus Carmella.
Right.
I thought that was going to be a great match. And then all of a sudden Becky Lynch comes out of nowhere. Sure, great, whatever. But then
It felt like that Hulk Hogan thing from WrestleMania, whatever, one of the early ones where Andre the Giant won the belt at the end of WrestleMania, and Hulk Hogan's like, "Now I'm going to challenge you," and then he won.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
Like it just what was the point? Is it just to put it back on the champion now that they're back? I don't get it.
Yeah. And then you had like one more match at the WrestleMania after that.
Yeah.
And then like there wasn't really anything to that. And I think that consistently we have these storylines that just get dropped out of nowhere. And like all of a sudden it's not the way it was. And honestly, I think that they need to let a woman run the women's division. I think they need to stop letting Triple H run that division. I think they need to let Natalya do it.
Hey, yeah.
I think they need to let, Trish Stratus or Lita or, somebody who,
or at least be heavily involved in the creative. Yeah, someone who cares. I do believe that women's wrestling has gotten better over the years, but I like you're saying, I believe it's stalling a bit. I'm going to be honest and say that I feel like the female revolution was manufactured to fight the backlash from the first Saudi Arabia pay-per-view where there were no women allowed. But despite the fact that it was manufactured, I think it was successful.
Okay. Yeah.
That Evolution pay-per-view that they had as kind of an apology for not having any women at Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
was a great pay-per-view. I remember it being very, very good. I remember actually caring about it and being invested in most of the matches. Of course, there's going to be a few that are like that, but that's most pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But it was really good. We had a women's match headline WrestleMania, like as the final big match not too long ago. And it was phenomenal. Nobody questioned it. But truthfully, the biggest indicator to me that women's matches aren't the automatic, the biggest indicator that things have gotten better is that women's matches aren't the automatic bathroom break match anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't see that. I used to, even very recently, up until this kind of push started, that was the go-to since a teenager.
Yeah.
Women matches on, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't my mindset of like, oh, I don't care about women. I'm just like this.
I don't care about
There's
these matches.
there's no story happening. I'm not invested in this at all. And it's probably going to be, light on the action because that's how they were. Because they were Barbie dolls, like we were saying earlier, for a while. And so now those are matches that I want to watch. And so it's usually other matches, lower on the men's card that I'm skipping. To go to the bathroom. So I really think it's a weird metric to use, but I really think that's a huge indicator that things have changed for the better.
Yeah. And I think they have changed for the better. Like I said, I just think storyline wise, things could,
Yeah,
work a little bit better on that
there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, you got a solid base.
But yeah, we're closer to getting there than ever, which I'm excited for.
So do we think that women's wrestling can make it on its own someday again? Like maybe having another all women's premium live event?
I think I would be down for not yearly because that would make it too gimmicky. I'd be down for every 3 or 4 years them doing an all women's pay-per-view special event. Add a tournament or something to it that ends during that event leading up to it. I would love having that every now and then. I think they could carry it.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about a full-on promotion, I don't know.
I think we're a long way from that.
We have Women of Wrestling, right? And we know that name because it's been around for a long time, but it's also been canceled 4 times.
Yeah.
And revived 4 different times.
Yeah.
It's sitting on the verge of being successful enough to exist, but it just struggles to keep an audience because it never reaches that level of success that a television company will commit to it to air it at a specific time every week. So like they're on a bunch of TV channels, but that's never aired on the same day or at the same time. And so
Yeah.
you can't grab an audience that way. I'm not sure it has the legs to be anything more than a glorified talent farm at
Yeah.
this point. But I think women's wrestling can be great as a part of WWE and AEW if they don't drop the ball. I think it could be have a larger share of the screen time and fan devotion if we can just, like you said, get somebody who cares about women's wrestling
Yeah.
as head of creative for women.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think we're risking a WNBA situation. if we go any further than that.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in a situation where the men's dominant wrestling is subsidizing female
Yeah.
wrestling
Yeah.
just for a weird equality
So they
sake.
have something.
Yeah.
I get
and then
that.
it winds up just failing anyway.
I get that. Well, we love women's wrestling right now. I think it's like I said, I think it's the best time in women's wrestling and professional wrestling for women. And I'm excited, as two guys who have daughters, I'm excited for where it's going to be, maybe when they become of age to give a crap, if they give a crap about it. I don't know.
Give a crap age.
Give a crap age. But anyway, if there's some other female wrestlers we didn't get to, please head on over to our socials at 2words LTN, and let us know. Yell at us. Use all caps. We don't care. We're pretty thick-skinned about it.
We're adults.
Yeah, we're all adults. And when we come back, I think we have 2 more episodes. I
Two
know we
more
had
episodes.
said we were going to have one,
Yeah, I
and then we
apologize.
said no.
That was my fault.
People deserve 2 more episodes.
We'll have one on November 9th, and then we're going to have one on Thanksgiving Day as our season finale.
And I'm thankful for you guys. But until then, my name's John. His name's Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.